What's going on, Warriors? It's Coach Jay. Are smoothies better or is juicing better for controlling blood sugars? If it's your first time on the channel, guys, I help type 1 diabetics to build muscle, burn body fat, control their blood sugars, lower their A1C, just take things to the next level, baby. But I also do supplement reviews and vlog style videos. So if you guys like any of that stuff, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button down below, hit that bell notification, hit that like button so you guys don't miss out. We are revolutionizing things over here, baby. Let's go. Juicing and smoothies, which one is going to be better for you for blood sugar control? I want to dive into this a little bit deeper so you understand the big picture of what it is that your body is likely going to do a lot better with overall. So the first thing I want to go over is fiber. Fiber is the key thing that's going to help you to regulate your blood sugars. You have insoluble, you got soluble fiber. When we think about soluble fiber is what's going to help to increase what's called viscosity in your gut, meaning it creates this gel-like substance in your gut, which helps to slow down the release of glucose to better control your blood sugar levels. Now, when you're juicing, you're removing the fiber content from what it is that you're consuming. When you're drinking a smoothie, you're blending that fiber up so you can still get the benefits of consuming that fiber when it's inside of your body. So when we think about blood sugar control, we need to understand the importance of fiber to help us to control the blood sugars, and understand when you're juicing, you're not gonna have that fiber in your gut, which can spike blood sugars a lot faster as a result, because it does not slow what's called gastric emptying, the process of the release of glucose into your body's bloodstream at the end of it. And then when we look at smoothies, smoothies will help to slow down that release, which again can get you better control over your blood sugars overall. Now when we look at something like the glycemic index and the glycemic load, glycemic index just measures how fast your blood sugar is going to spike and how high it's going to spike when you're consuming certain foods. They measure this on a scale. So you got your low glycemic index, medium glycemic index foods, and higher glycemic index foods. When you are consuming low glycemic index food, they measure this on a scale, and your low glycemic index foods are going to be at a number between about 0 and 55. Your medium glycemic index foods are going to be between about 56 and 69, and your high glycemic index foods are going to measure at 79 and above. Now, glucose is at 100 in terms of the measurement scale of glycemic index. One of the reasons why, if you have a blood sugar low, glucose tablets are recommended, because the glycemic index is going to spike you fast and higher. So that's why glucose tablets are typically recommended for treating blood sugar lows. Sprinkle an extra warrior tip on there for you guys. But the other thing we have to understand as well is that there's also something called a glycemic load. The glycemic load takes into account the serving size of a food. Take something like watermelon, for example. Watermelon has a higher glycemic index, so you might think stay away from it. But when you look at the glycemic load is very low, meaning the serving of what you would take, you'd have to eat a lot of watermelon to spike your blood sugar higher than usual on average. Of course, insulin comes into as a factor as well, but when we're talking about just blood sugar control overall, that's why the glycemic load on a watermelon is a lot lower, right? So it's important to take into account the glycemic load, which is more indicative of what's gonna happen to your blood sugar when you eat a certain food. Now, when you look at the glycemic load, to actually get this measurement, if you're somebody who likes math, so to find the glycemic load, you just take the glycemic index, multiply it by carbohydrates in grams, divide that by 100. That'll give you the glycemic load. Now, you also have low, medium, and high glycemic load foods. Now, a low glycemic load food is going to be 10 and under. A medium glycemic index food is going to be about 11 to a 19. And a higher glycemic index food is going to be a 20 and above. The more you are in the low glycemic load type foods, the more control you're going to get, the less fluctuations you're going to get in blood sugar levels as well. And where this fits into smoothies and juicing, when we look at juicing, what we're doing is, again, remember, back to the fiber. We're removing the fiber. By removing the fiber, you also change the glycemic index, because it's the fiber a lot of times that's in the foods that helps to control that release of glucose into your blood. So if you're removing the fiber, you change the glycemic index to be higher, and you're likely going to have a higher spike as a result. The same thing with the glycemic load. Let's say you're juicing, you're combining multiple items to juice. Now, by combining multiple, let's say typically low to medium glycemic index fruits that are now high glycemic index fruits because you remove the fiber. Now by combining these juices, you've also changed the glycemic load and increased that as well. Reason being is because, again, remember the serving size. So the more quantity that you have, so maybe you got a mango you're juicing with maybe an apple, now all of a sudden with no fiber at all in anything, now all of a sudden you've increased that glycemic load as well as increasing the glycemic index, and you'll likely have more of a spike. Versus a smoothie, where again, we're blending everything up inside of that to help to give you more of a controlled release of glucose. Third thing I want to talk about is portion control. You can portion control a little bit better with something like a smoothie. You can feel a little bit more full with everything that's in that as well. Now, it's easy to just juice a bunch of different juices and have a whole glass of juice that's just an excess amount of fruit that maybe you don't need, versus just blending things up in a smoothie, keeping the fiber in there, which can also help you to feel more satiated and full as well. So you can portion control better when it comes to a smoothie over juicing. You can also add more ingredients into smoothies, right? Let's say, for example, you get full off of juicing. Not only have we just removed the fiber, but there's really no option to add protein to this unless you have it on the side. Whereas if you have a smoothie, you can blend up protein powder to get the protein in. You can blend up some almonds, for example, or some nuts just to add a little bit of fats in it, or put some peanut butter in it. So you can see there's more versatility to a smoothie in terms of the nutrients you can add in. And you can feel more satiated and full off of that as well. On top of it, when you're adding things like protein and healthy fats into a smoothie, you're further improving the glycemic index and the glycemic load by adding more fiber and other foods like protein, which can also slow the gastric emptying in your gut, in your stomach. And also other components like healthy fats, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated. You can actually better control your blood sugars by adding those elements into a smoothie rather than just having juicing on its own. And it makes it easier to hit your goals. If you're looking to build muscle and burn body fat as a type 1, again, sprinkle a little warrior tip on there for you guys. Again, you should be tracking things like your calories and your macros. Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark. You're gonna have a harder time getting where you wanna go, just in case you wanna speed the process up a little bit. And from there, now you can add that into your smoothie, so the smoothie becomes more of a meal than the juicing does. So important to look at that bigger picture when it comes to smoothie or juicing. For me, smoothies are gonna win. If you guys haven't figured it out just yet, the smoothies are gonna win 10 times out of 10 in my books. Just more nutrients, more ingredients, help to control blood sugars better. Now, does this mean that you shouldn't juice at all? No, you could balance it out and you could juice, you could have smoothies, but if I had to pick one to get more ingredients in and better control my blood sugars overall, the smoothies is just packed with more to help you get that control in. All right, so just bigger picture in mind. I hope that helped you guys out. It's Coach Jay. I'll go ahead. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hey, if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that bell notification down low so you guys don't miss out any of these videos. Hey, share this with a type 1 warrior that might need it as well. So I hope it helped you guys out. It's Coach Jay. I'll see you guys.